Hello again, my peeps. Welcome back to Tuesday Talks. This week's Tuesday Talk is called Skilled and Filled. I thought of this when I was listening to my pastor this Sunday, and he was talking about how we can have a lot of skills in our life, but if we're depleted, it doesn't reach as many people and there isn't as much potential in that skill. So let's start with skills. What are your skills? Skills are something that come naturally to you. It's something that you have a natural inclination towards that just clicks. It's just like, hey, I do this well, it's who I am, it's what I do. I'm gifted in it. And I would say that first you got to hone that. Like, what are your skills? There are ways to kind of get to know yourself more in that way. You can take personality tests. You can take like career tests and things like that kind of give you an inclination of your personality type, maybe even like your brain type and the way that you work. Are you logical? Are you artistic? Are you quiet? Are you creative? Like those kinds of things all will point you towards your skills. And so once you hone that, then you got to be filled. So you can't give from an empty cup. And it has taken me many years to learn this and many times being burnt out. And so let's talk about that too. What does it mean to be filled? And of course, the conversation is for extra abled people too, and especially extra abled people, because that's what my channel is for. And as extra abled people, I think that we can really lean towards burnout a lot more, because not only are we dealing with our everyday life and taking care of ourselves, so whatever extra ability you have, you're getting up every day and you are working through life with an added challenge from an able-bodied person. And then on top of that, we are still trying to work, put food on the table, have relationships, and live our lives, and all of that can take a lot of effort and energy from within us. And that's what easily leads to burnout. So what are some things that we can do to kind of stay away from burnout and be filled up so that our skills can be even more effective in the world? Well, the first thing is to really sit with yourself and see how you feel. Do you feel exhausted? Do you feel enlivened? Do you feel depleted? Because I know for me, a lot of times the reason why I ended up burnt out was that I was prioritizing everything on the outside of me more than what was going on the inside of me. I would be having, really negative emotions on the inside, and I would just push them away, because I think a lot of us are taught that negative emotions are bad and you should just ignore them. But the problem is that negative emotions that you ignore don't go away. They just show up again, even worse, somewhere else. So I think it's important to give yourself the chance to say, you know what? I'm having some negative emotions and I need to acknowledge that. Some ways that you can acknowledge those negative emotions are journaling. I say at least 3 times a week, you should do an emotions, feelings, thought dump with journaling. You can do that writing, typing, recording, whatever way you as an extra-abled person best get your inner world out of you. It's really important to not let things build up too much, because I really think that is what leads to fatigue and burnout, is just kind of the dirt of life, I would say, building up inside. And the way I like to think of it too is when I'm feeling super overwhelmed, which by the way, I woke up that way this morning, feeling overwhelmed. I like to think of it like in a mental practice, that it's all inside. It's like this, this energy that kind of builds up and it feels like it's pressure on the inside. But then I realize that God is so much bigger than me, and I can release all of that into a way bigger container than me, God, and he isn't scared of it. And if there's some scaries in there, then, we ask for forgiveness and we ask to do better. And that is where grace comes in. And that is why grace is so amazing and why the gospel is so incredible, because we get a chance every day to say, even in here, in my heart, my mind, I'm not hitting the mark, but God, forgive me. And I just give all that's inside of me to you, the vastness of you, and there is nothing you can't handle. And that just kind of makes me go, I can relax because I know it's all in his hands. Okay, so also when it has to do with being filled and not being depleted is your mental health. So if you're struggling with mental health things, I highly suggest going to a therapist, but also a life coach, or just a coach or a really good friend, or some person, a pastor, a priest, someone that can give you feedback for what's going on in your life, give you some wisdom, someone that you trust. What I would say gauges the person that should lead you through mental health things is someone that is in a healthy place mentally, and also that you trust with your precious pearls. But also mental health has a lot more to do with being active. Getting outside in nature is a huge part of mental health. Like those Instagrams that are like, I'm taking a stupid walk for my stupid mental health. Yeah, sometimes it feels a little bit monotonous, to take good care of yourself. But believe me, in the long run, it is worth it. The next thing is physical health. I cannot tell you how many times, especially in my 20s, I went to the doctor and they were like, you are so depleted in your vitamins. And I had no idea. Like, I would just be sort of eating whatever, thinking that was, sustaining me. And so what I learned is that nutrition is such a huge part of having our cup filled. If your body is nutritionally deficient, it is not going to carry your skills as far out into the world or into success or your dreams and goals as you would want, because a tired body can only do so much. So maybe even start with going to your doctor and getting a blood draw and making sure that your levels are all good. And whatever levels are deficient, start taking high quality supplements to fill those levels in. It's so important. Also, I think all of us kind of have a general, almost like a diet that suits us best. And so I think it's really important to know like what kinds of foods sustain you, and what kind of diet really helps you feel your best. And then obviously like a good exercise regimen will keep you fit and feeling good. And so really what this is about when you're being skilled and filled is the general principle of this is that you are working on the things that you're good at, that your gifts, your talents, your goals, your dreams, your vision, your purpose, those are all under skills. Your giftings, get to know them, get to know yourself, and then fill your cup up. And there's a proverb that says guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. And I think that sums up being filled, that if you're giving your heart away to things that deplete that inner pool of living water, then you're not going to feel filled. And I think I want to leave you with this very last but important tip, is that your inner world is your responsibility. It is not anyone's responsibility to fill you up. And this is where codependency can come in a lot of times and actually really interrupt our skills and our dreams and our goals, because we're looking to the outside to fill us on the inside, when it's really, it all has to come from within first. Okay, you guys, that is my Tuesday talk. Go out there and be skilled and filled, and I'll see you guys next week.